Today on Commander Replay, Saskia is looking to double damage the fun. Can Saskia overcome Bruna Light of Alabaster, Vorosh the Hunter, and Kineos and Tiro of Miletus while kicking ass and chewing double mint gum? Find out next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're playing a little bit more Saskia. I've been meaning to make my way back around to Saskia for quite a while, so today's finally the day. I'm calling this a fairly standard Saskia build. It's mostly just a lot of big creatures and doubling damage effects. Our opening hand doesn't look great because we don't have any green mana, so we're gonna mulligan that. Ooh, this is really slow. I'm gonna mulligan again. We don't have any acceleration in this hand. Alright, it's getting real bad now. Let's try it. Oh my god, there's a green land. So that was a super risky keep. Luckily, we have a land on top. The Sylvan Library can get us out of the mulligan. Let's take a look at what our opponents are playing. We have Bruna Light of Alabaster. It's 5/5 Flying Vigilance. Whenever Bruna attacks or blocks, you may attach to it any number of auras on the battlefield that could enchant it from your graveyard or hand. So Bruna's usually a Voltron-style deck, and I've seen Bruna have some tricks. Usually they'll build up a real big Bruna, and then I've seen people play like Armageddon, and then you can't do anything about like the 18/18 coming at you. Next we have Vorosh the Hunter. Vorosh also gets really big. Haven't seen much Vorosh these days. He kind of takes the back seat to a lot of other bug or sulti-color commanders. And then finally we have Kineos and Tiros of Miletus, which is usually some sort of group hug ramp strategy. So back to our turn. We're gonna drop a land and play our Sylvan Library. There's a little bit of life gain in this deck, so I'm planning to draw pretty heavily with this Sylvan Library for at least the first few turns. Bred for the Hunt, for the Vorosh opponent. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. Very solid in a +1/+1 counter deck. So it looks like Vorosh might be on some sort of +1/+1 counter theme. They have a Guildmage out from last turn. Zamek Guildmage. Pay 2, this turn each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Pay 2, remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control, draw a card. So Vorosh hits Bruna down to 38. And Kineos passes the turn. Back to our turn. We get our Sylvan Library trigger. And I'm just going to draw everything right here. So drop our land and run out this Burnished Heart. Considering we had a mulligan down to 6, things aren't looking too bad. This Sylvan Library is doing some work for us. Aether Adept coming into play and bouncing the Guildmage for Vorosh. Fathom Mage coming into play. Has Evolve, and whenever a +1/+1 counter is put on Fathom Mage, you may draw a card. So the Vorosh opponent is set up to draw a lot of cards and put some counters on a lot of things. Seems cool. One of those things I've always wanted to do is build around the Planar Chaos Elder Dragons, and I've never really gotten around to doing it, but they do look fun to play, just that they are a little bit slow by today's standards. There's a lot of powerful commanders in the 3, 4, and 5 converted mana costs, and even though they're very big at 6, they can be very slow. Explosive Vegetation for the Kineos opponent, and back to our turn. We get another Sylvan Library trigger. Let's see what we have. I'm gonna put a land back on top of our library for now, just because we don't need quite that many cards. I will draw one extra. So the plan right here is gonna be, we're gonna swing with the Burnished Heart and just crack it and go find some lands. Play Needle Spire's tapped. I could have stayed back on defense, but honestly, I'm just feeling like playing kind of fast and aggressive this game. Alright, so we definitely need some black mana. We have 3 red sources, so that's pretty good. We have 3 white sources, so that's also pretty good. So I think I'm gonna go double black right here, just to make sure we have enough black mana. Next turn, wow. Next turn, we could potentially slam this Debtor's Knell. That would be pretty sweet. Zamek Guildmage coming back into play. Debtor's Knell is a really cool card that I seldom get to use because I actually don't play black and white all that much. But I fell in love with Reanimator-style decks years and years ago, probably like 2005. And, shortly after that, Debtor's Knell was printed, and I'm like, oh my god, this card is awesome. It pulls big creatures out of the graveyard, which is one of the things that I love doing in this game. So, Fathom Mage coming into us, gonna hit us down to 26, and opponent's gonna get to draw a card off of their Bred for the Hunt, and a Cultivate for the Vorosh opponent. Followed Footsteps for our opponent. Enchant a creature at the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of the enchanted creature. Well, that's pretty wacky. What's it enchanting? So it's targeting the Fathom Mage. So back to our turn. Sylvan Library on the stack. Well, we should put something back. Since we're down to 26 already, I'm going to be a little bit more careful with our life. So tap our lands the right way. And I'm going to play the Sunscorched region right now because that'll get us some life back and it'll start getting really big. which I like, and we'll drop our Sacred Foundry into play tapped. Pass the turn. As much as I wanted to slam the Debtor's Knell, I felt like we need to get the life gain going and just have a blocker up, and it'll take an additional turn for the Debtor's Knell to really kind of start working for us. Plus, the Bruna was sitting on 4 open mana, so they could have been sitting on a counter spell. Bruna drops a land, passes the turn. They're sitting on 5 open mana. Vorosh activates the Guildmage ability, so creatures will come into play with an additional +1/+1 counter. We get a Sunscorch trigger. Golgari Guildmage coming into play. Fathom Mage gets a counter, gets to draw a card. So Vorosh sending his Fathom Mage and the Guildmage at the Kanaos opponent, and he's going to get to draw some more cards off of the Bread for the Hunt. Kanaos down to 34. Golgari Signet coming into play, and another Sunscorch trigger for us. Back up to 28, and 2 counters on Sunscorch. Sunscorch Regent is such an awesome card in Commander. So Kanaos' turn, they're going to get a copy of the Fathom Mage. I can't really figure out who's the biggest threat at the table right now. I've seen what Bruna can do. This Vorosh deck has been very active, although their creatures are still relatively small, but they probably will get powered up as the game goes on. He's also drawn quite a few cards. But Kanaos decks kind of win out of nowhere, so I'm not really sure who I should be hitting in this game. And I'm also nervous about the fact that this Bruna is still sitting on 5 open mana, so potentially any big play we try to make could get countered. Kanaos coming into play, gonna give us another Sunscorch trigger. I don't feel like we need to use the Vampiric Tutor yet. I'm still not entirely sure what we're looking for, if anything, so I'm gonna keep holding on to that for now. Bounce land for our opponent. And Kanaos triggers at the end step. We don't have any lands, so we'll draw a card. Chromatic Lantern. Opponent gets a Temple. They're gonna scry. Back to our turn. Sylvan Library going on the stack. Use the ability. Oh, choices. Oh, I mean, if we don't get countered, we could just slam this Bruce Tarl and double strike the Sunscorch Regent and hit someone for a ton of damage. That sounds like fun, actually. I'm gonna keep all the cards. I'm gonna keep all the cards on the assumption that we're about to gain some life back. If something should go wrong right here, then it's gonna look real bad. So play our Forest. Slam this Bruce Tarl. Yep, there's the counterspell I was worried about. Luckily we do get a trigger off Sunscorch Regent, so that's good. Yeah, that sucks. That being the case, I think I'm just going to stay put with the Sunscorch Regent because we were really looking for the lifelink right there. The next question is, do we hold up the Selfless Squire and discard the hand size, or do we just jam more creatures? I think we run the Farhaven Elf out there right now. We'll get a Plains. And yeah, we'll just stay on defense. Pass the turn. So, Bruna Light of Alabaster coming into play. We get another Sunscorch trigger. Opponent activates their Guildmage. Another trigger for us, and a Sporeback Troll coming into play. It's a 3/3. Kanaos' turn, and Followed Footsteps going on the stack. Gonna get themselves another Fathom Mage. Kanaos taps a lot of mana. Lifeblood Hydra coming into play, X6. When it dies, you gain life and draw cards equal to its power. Seems pretty good. Take a little check on our mana here. So we'll draw a card. Oh my god, it's Gisela. Oh my god. Can we kill anyone, is the question. Right now, unfortunately, we're kind of choking on our mana. We need a lot more mana than we have. I think I'm going to burn our Tutor and go for a True Conviction. So, Sylvan Library, finding 2 lands, put this one back on top, pay 4 life, keep this guy, drop our land, play the True Conviction, and fuck. I tapped my lands wrong, so I will not be able to cast Saskia in the same turn. God damn it. So in that case, we'll leave up Selfless Squire in case someone wants to come in real big. I'm going to go with the Kanaos opponent since they've got some stuff, and also they don't have any open mana, so I figure we can get this attack in safely. So there's hit 1 and hit 2. Double whammy!
Double whammy!
Wow. Kanaos goes down to 12, and we go all the way up to 41. Opponent says ouch. And so we'll pass the turn and just leave up our Selfless Squire. So now we can just keep drawing all day with the Sylvan Library, which is good. We do have to be careful for whatever Bruna does right here. We don't know exactly what cards are going to be coming down into play. Iridescent Angel for the Bruna opponent. Protection from all colors, 4/4. I suppose there's worse things. So Bruna coming at us. Let's see how big it gets. It is a 7/7 with Indestructible. I think we'll take the hit for now. It is 7 Commander, but it doesn't have Double Strike or anything crazy like that yet, so that is good. Vorosh draws a card. We go down to 35 and take 7 Commander from the Bruna. Vorosh decides to stay back and leave all their mana open. Kanaos plays Azuri's Predation. For each creature your opponents control, create a 4/4 beast token. Each of those beasts fights a different one of those creatures. Oh boy. Let's see how this goes. I think they're about to get a whole lot of creatures. Oh my god, that's a lot of triggers. So, always yield to that. Always yield to that. Always yield to that. Oh my. So the Vorosh opponent loses all their creatures in the fight. We lose our Farhaven elf. The Ether Adept goes down. A little bit of damage on our Sunscorch region. We do gain some life off the lifelink in the fighting. And opponent has a whole bunch of 4/4 beasts. So Kaneo's coming into us real hard, and we're gonna play our Selfless Squire right here. Opponent says, oh no. So Selfless Squire protection trigger going on the stack. No blocks. And Selfless Squire gets 16 counters. It's now a 17-17. We don't have any lands to put into play, so we'll draw an additional card. Now we have enough life that we can just draw willy-nilly with the Sylvan Library. Ooh, a Baneslayer Angel. I'm just going to keep everything. Drop this Overgrown Tomb. Pay the life. So now we cast Saskia. Gonna choose the Bruna opponent since they're the hardest to get to. And then we play Gisela. And this might be game. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. Go to combat. Send that in there, send that in over the top, and send that in there. And, let's see what happens. Oh, don't be Cyclonic Rift. Please don't be Cyclonic Rift.
Cyclonic Rift your mom.
It's a Cyclonic Rift. Ugh. So annoying. We're gonna have to discard a whole bunch of things, too. Alright, what do we get rid of? I don't think we need Relentless Assault at this point. Don't think we need Iroas. Ditch the Chromatic Lantern. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm gonna ditch the Baneslayer. Yeah, we'll ditch the Wood Elves. Do we need Sylvan Library? Alright, I'm gonna ditch Saskia. I didn't really want to, but trying to avoid the commander attacks, but I think we're gonna have to. And I'll discard the Myriad Landscape, even though I like making land drops. I like the cards in our hand too much to start parting with them. So Bruna back into play. I told opponents that was about to be such a good Alpha Strike, and they said for sure. Opponent saying messing up the fighting ended up saving his bacon. That's funny. Vorosh coming into play. Gets a +1/+1 counter. Plays a bounce land. Good God, Kaneos has 17 cards in hand. Oh yeah, I guess they got everything bounced. Contagion Clasp for our opponent. Puts a -1 counter on Bruna. Seems like a good plan, but it might take him a while to get there with Proliferates because that Bruna will get bigger as auras start coming down. But hey, at least it gets smaller. So Kaneo's turn. So we have 11 mana. We can plan our turn out right now. I'm thinking Debtor's Knell, sit on Selfless Squire might be the right plan. Ooh, Doubling Season for the Kaneos opponent. That's a card. Prophet of Krufix for our opponent. Ooh. So, in case any of you are wondering, Prophet of Krufix is banned, but the whole thing with the Magic Online ban lists where they switched to the 1/1 ban list, Prophet of Krufix became unbanned for a temporary period of time till they fix the ban list issue. So when you have 15 cards in hand, Prophet of Krufix is exactly what you want. They will have to discard... Nope, they have a Reliquary Tower, so they'll be playing spells all day long. So I think we're going to slam Debtor's Knell. After that, I'm going to sit on Selfless Squire. Iridescent Angel coming back into play, flying and protection from all colors. So Bruna coming back at us. Let's see what auras he finds. Still the same ones from earlier, still a 7/7. I'll take, actually no. Since we're already at 7 commander from the Bruna, I am going to Selfless Squire. Thinking of saving it for the Vorosh, but I don't want to be in the one-hit range from Bruna. Kaneos populates. Oh man, that populate's gonna get real crazy. They have a lot of tokens. So our damage is protected. Selfless Squire gets 7 counters, is now an 8/8. Longshot Squad coming into play for the Vorosh opponent. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter has reach. More +1/+1 counters. I'm thinking Ugin might be the best play on our next turn. Well, maybe not. We'd have to kill the Ugin to get rid of the Iridescent Angel. And if we get rid of the Iridescent Angel, then we lose our Debtor's Knell. Maybe if we do it, 6 is the right call. Cultivator of Blades. Attacks other attacking creatures get +X+. Oh, this is going to be bad. Altered Ego. Copy of any creatures with X +1/+1 counters on it. It's a copy of Bruna, and it's an 11/11. Oh, that's trouble. Opponent, if they swing in everything, they might have lethal on us. And that's a Blade of Selves. So, assuming we survive, Ugin is probably the thing that has to happen this turn. Opponent decides to proliferate. Blade of Selves on the Cultivator of Blades. I don't think that's going to work exactly how they were thinking, but they probably will get to fabricate again. So it looks like opponent's going to send everything at us. Well, maybe not quite everything. This is still going to hurt pretty badly, though. Myriad goes on the stack. Yeah, it gets a whole bunch of additional fabricates. Uh-oh. No, okay, that one's still a 5/5, so we're okay there. That's... Ooh. Alright, so we got a block there. We can at least kill this thing. See if we survive. Oh my god, we're still at 17. That's amazing. Wait. Oh, thank God. Yeah, all right. We're still at 17, so we're still in this game. We're definitely going to slam Ugin. Because we're going with Ugin, we're just going to get the Wood Elves right here. Get ourselves a Taiga. Ooh, Lightning Greaves. So play Ugin. So I could have did something with the Naya Charm right there and actually tried to swing in at the Kaneos opponent. But if that backfires for any reason, then we end up dying to any three of our opponents. So I like the Ugin play better, and wiping the board for everything I think will be the smartest thing. But I did give some thought to making some aggressive plays with either the Gisela, the Boots, and or Saskia. Opponent decides to populate. So Ugin for 6. Again, I want to keep our Debtor's Knell in play, so I'll leave the Iridescent Angel at the cost of keeping Debtor's Knell. 4 mana left. Oh, those creatures are colorless. Well, in that case, did not pick up on that. In that case, we're going to have to use the Naya Charm to tap out their creatures. Did not see that part of it with the colorless creatures. Bruna coming back into play. Ooh, nice. So the Iridescent Angel doesn't attack. It totally had the choice to take down the Ugin right there, but they didn't. They were probably just holding it back on defense, because they're probably also nervous about all the tokens. Vorosh coming back into play. Xenagos the Reveler coming into play. Gonna make some mana. By some, I mean a ton of mana. So opponent gets 12 mana. Gets 14 mana. Curse of Echoes. Whenever enchanted player casts an instant or sorcery spell, each other player may copy that spell and choose new targets. They targeted the Vorosh opponent with the Curse of Echoes. Vizier of Many Faces. New card. Enters as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except if Vizier of Many Faces was embalmed. The token has no mana cost, is white, is a zombie in addition to its other types. Wayfaring Temple. It's a 15/15. Casual 15/15. Map the Wastes. Opponent finds a land and bolsters. Spawn Writhe for our opponent. Equipping the Blade of Selves. Opponent's moving to combat, so we're going to use this Naya Charm and tap them out. Fortunately, they tapped out all their mana for us in their pre-combat main phase, so they're pretty SOL now. Opponent says so many surprises. So Debtor's Knell. Big Baneslayer Angel is the thing we want right here. Life's getting low, so Lifelink is at a premium right now. We draw a land, so drop our planes. So we have exactly enough mana left to play Gisela and Saskia. I just don't know if that's the right thing. Yeah, let's try it. Saskia coming into play.
Double the pleasure, double the fun. With Saskia, we're gonna double the damage done.
I'm gonna target the Bruna opponent because I'm gonna have a ton of trouble getting through that Iridescent Angel. Okay, so I think we play Lightning Greaves, put Greaves on our Baneslayer Angel, get in some damage. So, accidentally left our opponent at 1, did not mean to do that. Realized I could have fired up the Needle Spires right there and gotten in lethal damage. But I did not do that. We're running very, very low on time on our clock. Gotta play quick. So Bruna's gonna go in and finish off the Kaneos opponent, finally. Kaneos finally goes down. Oh man, took a lot of work to bring them down. Dark Imposter coming into play. Exile target creature and put a +1/+1 counter on Dark Imposter. Has all activated abilities of the exiled creatures. Opponent has enough to activate it. That's a thing. Let's get Iroas. Ooh, that's a Savage Beating. Nice. So, play Gisela. Attack with everything at the Vorosh opponent. I'm gonna go for a second combat step, this Savage Beating. So opponent's gonna exile the Gisela. The Bruna opponent goes down, and attack with everything again. Opponent's down to 11. Could have played that better. Started getting really short on time. If I had moved the Boots over to Iroas, things would have gotten much better. Also didn't get a chance to use Ugin because I F6'd. The problem is he can start exiling our creatures, and that's going to be a big problem. Yeah, he has enough to exile twice. So opponent's going to swing at the Ugin. Can't really do anything about it. Ugin goes down. We need our opponent to tap out and do something else and not hold up the exile mana. Contagion Engine, oh. Well, that's not them double exiling. Although he still has an exile, he can still exile one creature. So a bunch of -1/-1 counters. And he's going to proliferate. Nice. Looks like he still has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana open. So he used all his exile mana. Although our things are going to get much smaller. Alright, give me Bruce Tarl. Put that on there. Put that there. Oh, nice. We got it. Woo! 57 seconds left on the clock. Nice. So that was a close game. I played fairly sloppy. It's a little late at night. Definitely made a couple of mistakes that could have cost us the game. One of the big things early is when I tried to go for that huge double strike play with Bruce Tarl, We kind of got blown out there a little bit, and our life total was pretty low. We were able to get that back up later with True Conviction. But one of the big things was kind of, if I had held the Selfless Squire and just took the 7 off of Bruna, I could have prevented that big hit for like 30 that came in off of all the tokens. But we were able to survive it. And then we played the Ugin, and I think playing Ugin for 6, I think, was the right call, because leaving our Debtor's Knell was huge. Anyway, this has been Saskia. Let me know what you guys think of Saskia, and of course, if you like this video, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.